Students, in lesson 3.5, we are going to do an investigation with decimal addition. Our essential question at the top of the page is, how can we use base 10 blocks to model addition? So just a reminder, boys and girls, we are going to use the base 10 blocks that we used at the beginning of chapter 1, but we're going to infuse our understanding and deepen our understanding. So when we have one flat, boys and girls, that represents 1. When we have 1/10th, boys and girls, that's representative by a log. And then when we have 100th, boys and girls, that is representative of 1 cube. And we can also write this as our fraction equivalents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write those fraction equivalents out. Just because it's good practice for us to keep in mind how the decimals relate to the fraction and how the decimal relates to the fraction. So we're going to connect. You can use base 10 blocks to help you find decimal sums. And what you're going to see today, boys and girls, is that we're going to use the base 10 pieces in class. However, I'm going to draw the base 10 pieces out that we used when we are doing drawing. So we are going to use our base 10 pieces, but for the purpose of the video, I will be drawing it. So A, it says use the base 10 blocks to model the sum of 3400ths and 2700ths. So boys and girls, you are going to see me model on the side these two decimals. So first we have 3400ths, and we have 3/10. So we're going to model that with 3 longs. And we have here, boys and girls, 400ths. So we're going to model that with 4 little circles. Now we're going to add that amount, boys and girls, to the other decimal, which was 2700ths. So again, boys and girls, we see that there's 2/10. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw 2 longs. And then, boys and girls, there are 700ths. So what we're going to draw out is 700ths. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. So now, boys and girls, we are going to add those two amounts together. But rather than just add the decimals, we're going to actually add the base 10 pieces. So let's count it out, boys and girls, and let's see what we have. We have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. So all together, boys and girls, we have exactly 5/10, which we also know is represented by this decimal 5/10. Now, boys and girls, we're going to count out our hundreds. We have over here 400ths, boys and girls, and over here we have 700ths. So if we add, boys and girls, 400ths to 700ths, we get 1100ths. So boys and girls, we're actually going to take those 10 that we added up of the 1100ths, and we are going to trade one of those in for a long. So we're going to cross off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So boys and girls, when we traded in those hundreds, we were able to trade in 10 hundreds for 1/10. And now, boys and girls, what we have left over is the 100th. So when we added our answer together, boys and girls, we got 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. So we had 6/10, and then we had 100 left over. So we got 61/100ths. Now, boys and girls, when we go over here to the side, it says, do you need to regroup the hundreds? We said yes. And right over here, when I was crossing off those 10 hundreds, that's what we were doing. We were regrouping the hundreds. So, yes. The 700ths that we had, and those were up here, we added those to the 400ths that were down here. which equaled 11 hundredths. Boys and girls, that's greater than 9 hundredths. So that's why we had to regroup. Now, boys and girls, we're going to go down to C. It says add the tens by combining them. So what we did was when we add the tens, we said 110 plus 210 plus 310 plus 410 plus 5 tens. Did we have to regroup the tens? No, boys and girls, we did not. We saw that 3 tenths plus 2 tenths plus the one that we regrouped was equal to 6 tenths. And boys and girls, because 6 tenths is not greater than 9 tenths, we did not have to regroup. So, boys and girls, if we were to record the sum of our answer, let's count it out again one more time. We have 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. So that is 6 tenths, and we had 100 left over, which was 1/100th. So our answer would be 61 hundredths. So now, students, we're going to go on to the second part of the activity. We're going to draw conclusions. So it says at the top of draw conclusions, what if you combine the tenths first and then the hundredths? Explain how we would regroup. So one possible explanation for this, boys and girls, is I would still regroup the hundredths. The same way by exchanging ten hundredths for 1/10. Then, boys and girls, we would add the regrouped tenth to the combined tenths. So you definitely can do it both ways. It's just another way to think of it. When we think about when we add, we usually add the furthest place value first, so we would add the hundreds first. But you could combine the tens first in addition. So now, boys and girls, we're going to go to the hot question. This word synthesize means to really think and explore these ideas in your head. It says if you add two decimals that are each greater than 5 tenths, will the sum be less or greater than 1? So, boys and girls, the way that I solve these problems is I just give an example. If I'm not sure, what I do is I go ahead and I give an example. So if we want to pick two decimals that are greater than 5 tenths, let's add two decimals that are greater than 5 tenths. 6 tenths is greater than 5 tenths plus 7 tenths. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check. Will the sum be less or greater than 1? So let's just do it, boys and girls. If we have 6 tenths, we have 6 longs. And then if we have 7 tenths, we have 7 longs. So now, boys and girls, if we add 6 longs and 7 longs, we would get 13 longs. So now, boys and girls, if we think about it, 13 longs really represents, boys and girls, 6/10 plus 7/10, which is 1 and 3/10. Boys and girls, notice that when we get 10 longs, we could trade those 10 longs for 1 flat. So any number that's going to be larger than 5, if we added up those two, like 5/10 plus 5/10, would always give us a sum greater than 1. And we can pick examples to help illustrate that principle. So boys and girls, we are going to make some connections, and we're going to do the quick pictures to add decimals greater than 1. And this is something that we did in chapter 1, but we just modeled numbers. We did not actually add with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to model the sum of 2 and 5/10 plus the sum of 2 and 8/10 with a quick picture. So boys and girls, let's check out our picture here on the side. On the side, we have 1/10, or is that a 1 whole? That's a 1 whole, boys and girls. So we have 1 whole, 2 wholes, so those are 2 wholes. And the boys and girls, we notice that there is 5 ones here. So this decimal is representative of 2 and 5/10. Next, let's go to the bottom one. 1, 2, that is 2 wholes. And boys and girls, we can see that there are 8 longs, so that's representative of 2 and 8/10. So now we are going to use this quick picture to help check our math. We are going to add the 10s first. So when we add the 10s, we take 5/10 plus 5/10, and we get 10/10. But we really trade that in, boys and girls, for 1 whole. So what we do is we cross out that information and we trade it for 1 whole. So we regrouped. Whenever there are 9/10, boys and girls, we have to regroup. So we get 1 whole. So now we're going to add the ones, boys and girls. 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, 4 wholes, 5 wholes. So boys and girls, when we add it, we saw that there were more, so we had to regroup. So we're going to say yes, there were more than 9/10, because 5/10 plus 5/10 would be 10/10. So we added. So let's draw a picture of what we have now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ones. And boys and girls, if we look over here on the side, we have 3 longs left over. So if we were to add this number, we would say that we have 5 wholes and 3/10 left over. So boys and girls, today we're practicing specifically using a quick model or drawing to add decimals.